there's still a lot of biasness and stereotypes where people come in and just put you in a box and say that you are that type of person. It's full of crap if we say that we don't see the color difference of any skin or shapes or sizes, because we are so good at that. So my name is Georgie Kerr. I am the organizer for PyCon, RubyConf, Code War, and PyLadies Thailand. So I'm also a member of the Diversity and Inclusion Work Group in PSF. Well, one thing great about that I'm excited about is recently I just been awarded with the Community Service Award by this PSF, and unlike most of the organizing team members, I don't really code like for a living. I'm just passionate about coding, and I started learning by myself, and I'm still learning because I have two teenage girls, so I have to manage a little bit on the mother side. Also, I manage the community quite a bit. I do help out with like I said, I help out with PyLadies, and because this year PyCon is actually hosting PyCon APAC. So since I'm the conference lead, I do take up a little bit more time. So when I have free time, I will juggle around with the events. I learn coding still, and at the same time, I do teach digital marketing for some trade. That goes years ago when it all started off with when I was actually creating a website for my daughter in geocities.com. Then I realized that there's so many things that's limited that I couldn't get through it, and started searching and wonder how I could actually get things done, like simple CSS things, the colors, the background, the settings, and everything. So I just got to know more and more and started digging deeper and deeper, and that's how I get into coding. The most interesting and fun project that I had was with Lorena Missa and also Teresa from Germany. So they actually approached me in March, or I think it was about in February, and said, hey, let's do something interesting, do the International Women's Day. And it has never been done before. And we are trying to promote such that we can draw every organizer from different chapter to come in together to do 3 different broadcasts so that it can actually fit in for different time zone. So it was a challenge, but we kind of sort things out in a really methodical way that works well for everyone, and we still enjoy doing things together, and you feel together as a community, and we see so many people that I've not known. We start to realize a lot of things that we really do need to help more especially in Asia Pacific, because we see lots of new faces that we've never met before that telling us that they struggle with their status or where they are staying as a developer in Asia Pacific. Yeah. I believe a lot about in the community and the power of community, because I grew up learning, like at the age of 16. I started helping people out in the local community center, because back then I was living in Singapore. I realized that it's impossible to actually do something alone. And when you actually have a few groups of people sharing the same interests coming together, it pushes you, it motivates you, it helps you to feel that you're not alone. When I arrived here in Thailand, and I started checking out the community area because I'm trying to learn how to code, you see. So I went to some kind of like hack night and started trying out how to figure out who to meet and what to do. And I realized that there aren't actually that many community groups. That's the reason why I support diversity and inclusion that much, because I think I am totally the minority of minority. Because first of all, I did not study computer science. Actually, I just picked up an online course, the CS50 now. So like I'm going halfway and then backwards to what everyone is starting off. So and also in France, I feel totally left out. Like you are, even though I'm French, I think it's there's still a lot of biasness and stereotypes where people come in and just put you in a box and say that you are that type of person. So when you are stuck in the box, you can move around. So you really struggle to fit in anywhere. And when I actually started moving to Indonesia, I speak a little Malay, and so it does fit in Indonesian. So it was quite okay, and I do understand the difference of feeling left out in regards to races. And I actually wrote once in Twitter before, hard to blend in, and in a group, especially in Asia, you will see more males around, and usually I'm the only one in the meetups, or probably like 2 or 3 female in a monthly meetup, and that's counted as normal. The tech industry in Asia is still dominated by male, and I think every one of us still, especially the female, they will agree with us. So many women actually struggle to be heard. Not only women, but also students. So I do see young Thai students struggling to learn more. Why? Because there's a language barrier. For example, like Python, the most common textbook that they have was that they study in school was written, I think, about 10 years ago. And it was written by this professor in Chulalongkorn University that I met and heard them talking about. We are talking about technology, and technology, the version just changed per year or even per month. Sometimes versions, how many, 0.0 and 0.1 and 0.2, it just keeps moving. If a textbook is actually written in 10 years ago, how do you expect the students to be able to catch up? And if they want to learn how to catch up with whatever they're picking up, number one, they have to be able to understand and read English, because codes are mostly written in English. Even if the codes are written in English, simple English, documentation are all in English. It's not in other languages that they understand. So even if they can speak simple English, it's so hard for them to understand what does that mean in terms of documentation. I really know that it's not something that can be changed immediately. It's something that if we can actually get the community to come out to help, it will be amazing. I always encourage like the young people to also come out to create their own community, because they are indulged in their own community, so they know how to bring and motivate the others. So like I think 2 years ago when we did PyCon in 2019, there is after the event, this kids from Chulalongkorn University, they were really hyped up. They said, I want to do the same thing. So I said, that's great. Go ahead and create your own meetup. And they did. So I helped them up to design a logo that fits into their identity, and tell them what they can actually do step by step to create the talks, what they need to prepare, and give them some swag so that they can actually give to the speakers, for example, things like that. And a few things like also when I see people like of the minority, or like some female developers, or the LGBT group coming in, I'll encourage them to give a talk. Yeah, so it's also listening and open our eyes to see who we can actually encourage I learned a lot recently because in order to understand a little bit more about diversity and inclusion, and I realized something is that every one of us is actually biased in a way or another. It's just built in our in our brain cells. There's something that's different. It's full of crap if we say that we don't see the color difference of any skin or shapes or sizes because we are so good at that. We are so good at seeing, oh, this is black, this is white, this is square, this is triangle. And that's how people come up with body shapes. Oh, are you pear shaped? Are you apple shaped? Because they literally just put everything in the boxes. So I think diversity and inclusion is something that everyone has to learn to understand how to accept people of different kind of race, different kind of culture, how they behave, and how can you actually talk to make people feel accepted, things like that. Or how would you actually think about creating an event that allow the disabled people to come in and attend? So we might be saying, oh, we love face-to-face conference, but there are people who actually couldn't attend. It's not because they are not good at what they're doing. It's just because they couldn't. Things like that. There's so many things that our normal brain cells will not think about happening because we are not in that situation. So it's kind of things that we need to learn. So listening to people is one of the key things that we need to do. By listening and having empathy on the person, what I do is that I'll try to integrate and make changes to the events. Every one of us like to solve puzzles. Coding is like solving puzzles, and that's the reason why I like it, because it helps you to solve a problem, and there's no one single solution. So you can solve a problem however you want, as long as it is solved. So that's the beauty of codes, because you can use different language to achieve what you want. And you can also start learning in different ways. So there's no time or when or the actual path that you actually have to follow to get to coding, you see. So you can learn on YouTube, you can get a book, you can ask a friend. I know it takes a bit of courage, especially if you're old or something like that, but I mean, speaking from myself, but there's no age to learning. Even 30 years back, if I were to tell myself to try to give an advice to me myself, I would say, go ahead and try whatever you would like to do and what you're passionate about, because no one else knows you better than yourself. Even if they have doubts, even if they advise against you, if your passion and whatever you have, your gut feel tells you that you think you will be able to do that, go ahead and try it, because you never know until you try it.